to talk to me. I'm your host, Brenda Warren, the Solutionist. I see things other people often miss, and in 2021, y'all, I saw a lot of things. And I'm excited today to have my very, very, very special guest, Miss Lisa Desharum, my accountability buddy, accountability coach extraordinary herself, with me to do a 2021 in review and a new year planning session. You see, all day today and earlier this week, we were discussing what was going on this past year, where we saw our wins, our setbacks, and our highlights, and we thought we'd come share that with you. Somehow, Lisa, it seems like I have an echo, but we're going to see what we can do about that. Do you hear it?
I do hear it.
Okay, we're going to see if we can adjust that before we go any further. That might be something with my microphone. Let me see. How about now?
No, now we're good.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. I still have it somehow, and I'm not sure. Let me double check my mic. Lisa, when we talked earlier, we said we were going to talk about how we met. And for those that don't know, Lisa and I have been friends a little more than a year, actually over a year now.
Yeah.
We met at the Be on TV boot camp, and we became accountability buddies. And since that time, we've created some major magic in our business lives and our personal lives, and we've become very close. And I count Lisa as one of my most trusted advisors in my business and my personal life. So I'm excited for her to do this year in review for 2021. So, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brenda. I greatly appreciate it. And I truly trust Brenda as one of my personal as well as business advisors as well, because the one thing Brenda nor I do is sugarcoat anything, because she knows that's not my style and it doesn't go well. So we are straightforward and direct with one another.
You know, Lisa, I have known about accountability buddies because we're both veterans. So we understand the importance of accountability. But I can tell you, when Jen and Chris from Super Connector Media first said we need to find an accountability buddy, I wasn't thrilled with that prospect.
You know, I wasn't either, because I'm an introvert. So for me to have to go outside my comfort zone and connect with somebody was really difficult. The advantage that I had, and most people, you probably know this if you looked at Brenda's Facebook page, is she actually has a picture of her in her uniform and her as a civilian. So I was very excited because I just grabbed the first veteran and it's like, there you go. And I loved what Brenda was saying because she was so direct. So I just threw a message in chat and said, at least I tried. Whether or not she reconnects with me, I don't know, but I gave it a shot.
And then we had the fun connection because the first thing Lisa did was, you need to take a personality test. I'm like, who is this woman? You want to talk about that, Lisa?
Okay, first of all, it was not a personality test.
Okay.
It's an assessment of our strengths and our skills. So one of the things, because Brenda was talking about her business and I had worked with veteran businesses, and so one of the things we talked about was our strengths. And you really need to be able to understand your strengths. And Brenda and I are so different, but yet we really do complement each other. It's really amazing. So I was real curious as to really what her strengths were, because I already knew what mine was. And so Strengths Finders, because from the age of 3, our strengths are already identified. Mm-hmm. And so Clifton Strength Finders lets you take an assessment and it gives you your top 5. And so when I had Brenda do her assessment, I was not surprised to see that strategic was in her top 5, nor was I surprised to see that connectedness was her primary strength and skill. And so that worked out real good, because connectedness, so it's like number 1 for Brenda and it's like number 28 for Lisa. And so for me, that worked out really well, because Brenda's the outgoing one, and she helps me get out there a little bit more, knowing that that's not my strength and knowing it's hers. And, you know, if you think about Brenda, you think about somebody who has faith in everything. Everything is possible. Yeah, I'm not necessarily so much everything is possible. You know, I like my list. I like my organization. I like my strategic thought. Most everything is possible in my world. But in Brenda's world, everything is possible. And that I think is one of the reasons why that we connect so well together. So it wasn't a personality test. It was just an assessment of skills.
But when you say about me being everything is possible, in my view, yours is everything is doable if you have the right plan. So I felt like for me, you balanced me because I'm so shiny object that you were able to like corral cats and get me to focus more. And although I want to connect with people, because I'll spend all day on the phone with one person, and Lisa taught me that I need to limit my phone calls to between 5 to 15 minutes, preferably 5. But a 15-minute call for me prior to Lisa would have been a 2-hour call. And so I had to learn to navigate that. And that's where the accountability really came in so that I could actually be more effective in what it was that I was doing. And that's how we began to get to it. Our next thing we were going to talk about is getting clear, Lisa.
You know, it's always about the why. You know, when you got to get clear, you really need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I think that that's probably one of the most important things, that if you do nothing else, is get clear. You know, as much as I love Brenda, one of the things with Brenda is I swear she was into 100 different things. And it was like, no, we got to kind of narrow down the niche. Brenda's like, no, I don't have to narrow down the niche because everything kind of connects together. We're going to use books as an example because Brenda loves to read and she's an avid reader. I'm an avid audiobook. She's an avid reader. And one of the things with Brenda is she loves the books. And so she loves to read the books, but there's 1,000 different topics. She loves every aspect of every book. And so when you talk about getting clear on what you want to do, you can't do all the books. You kind of have to narrow down the niche. And same for me when we were talking about what I wanted to do, which is accountability coaching. And we had to narrow it down because accountability coaching to me is all about action. It's not, you know, it's not forcing you to do something. You know, my business is your choice. So in the end, it's your choice whether or not you want to take action. It's your choice what you want to do. And Brenda had to help me narrow down my niche just to focus on the laser coaching aspect of my accountability coaching because accountability coaching is so big. So both of us had an opportunity to get clear. I got clear because I had to pivot from what I was doing because of COVID and everything else. And so Brenda was just getting clear because this was a whole new venture for her.
And when you talk about getting clear, you talk about narrowing down your niche. For me in the beginning, niche was a dirty word because I wanted to do everything because I am shiny objects. I like doing the podcast. I like doing the vlogs. I like writing. I like sewing. I just like. And so being connected with you, Lisa, I was able to get clear. And that's how we came with that. I help people turn their mess or their mission into a message for the masses. Because prior to that, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. I just was out there making videos and it kind of didn't make sense. But over time, as I got clearer, what we realized is that I like telling people's stories. And so that began to help me really hone in on what I want to do. And when it came to the coaching aspect on my part, being able to help people tap into what it is that they want to do to live their best life so they can get from where they are to where they want to be. Helping them get clear on that was really important for me. And I'm happy to say I was able to get clear myself so I could help other people get clear.
And it's nice because one of the things about the tap-in method, and you can see her book, The Solutionist, behind her. It's not called The Solutionist. It's called, what's the name of your book?
It's Soul Searching, Get on Board for Transformation Using the Tap-In Method.
And one of the things I love about the tap-in method is you can use it for everything. And that was one of the things that Brenda and I talked about, which of course then kind of made it more difficult for her to narrow her niche down, but she got there. and everything is tap in now because really that's what it is all about it. It's all about taking that special skill that Brenda has in reference to tapping and seeing things that other people can't see. Brenda and I have talked several times, and there were certain things that I was hesitant about doing. And Brenda was like, no, Lisa, I can visualize this. I can tell you exactly how it's going to play out. And it's not even a 360 kind of view like I have. It was more of a realistic kind of, these are the steps to take. And using the tap-in method, you could see how that worked.
And that's the thing, Lisa, as we began to develop that, because even the tap-in method, I had it all over the place. And you helped me gain clarity on how do I explain what the tap-in method. And before I said, well, it's just you transform your mind. But then I began to be able to say that it is a 5-step strategic plan on helping people get unstuck. I can take someone from where they are to where they want to be in 5 easy steps. And each letter of the tap-in message stands for a process in that strategic plan and the steps you take to get from where you are to where you want to be. And that was hard for me to even come up with a framework around it. I'm still working on how to say it more succinctly, but I am clear that it is a 5-step process to get you from where you are to where you want to be so you can live unapologetically unstoppable.
And I love that. That was new. This is apologetically unstoppable. Unapologetically unstoppable has only been around for about 3 months, Brenda.
Yeah, about 3 months.
I love that. I had to type it up the first time she said it. I was like, oh, I love that.
And it's because, and that's one of the parts about 2021 caused us to realize that it's not one thing, it's consistency over time and letting your business evolve as it goes. Because what may have worked in January didn't work for me in June because people changed, I changed, I grew, I gained wisdom on how businesses work, what I could do, what I couldn't do. And so 2021 has been a year of growth for me, spiritually, emotionally, physically, professionally, personally. And all of that came from having accountability and networking and getting clear on what it is I really wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things with me is, I really needed to get clear because not only do I have my own business, but I have a day job. And then I also have the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. More so, we've merged from the New England Veterans back down to the Massachusetts Veterans Chamber of Commerce, because for me, it's really important to work with our veteran businesses. But what I do and what I do in my private business and what I do for veterans, it's the same thing. But for me, it was important to be able to focus and pivot my business so that I have both civilians and veterans. Because, and I know I've been retired since 2006 and I just can't stop saying the word civilian. I've been retired a long time here, 20 years in the military, and I just still can't get a, but, and the difference is the way that each one works. As a veteran, we work differently. We have different resources available to us. We have different skill sets. We do things differently as veterans, where civilians do things differently. And I think one of the advantages of being a veteran and working with civilians is the fact that as working with businesses, I have the ability to use my military strengths and skills, which is good. And it's not so scary to civilians when you put it in an accountability kind of piece because they want action. The CEOs and the senior execs I work with, they really want action. And they need it quickly because they don't have a lot of time. And that's why we were able to focus on laser coaching this year, which is just the 30-minute coaching sessions to focus on the things that they need to get unstuck with.
And, Lisa, you mentioned about working with veterans. I do want to mention something that I know is near and dear to your heart and recently became a little bit dear to mine. That is the power breath. So if you're a veteran out there listening, please, 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 and Lisa, I know you can expound on this some. Check out Power Breath, because as someone that was diagnosed with PTSD back in 2011, Power Breath was a game changer. And I resisted it because it was something new. I didn't want to do it, but it is a free class. It's just about you taking the time to do it. And that was one of the highlights of 2021 for me. And I just did it here at the end of the year was take a power breath class.
Yes, and I'm grateful she did because it really is near and dear to my heart. I took it back in June, and it's from welcomehometroops.org. They offer the free Power Breath course. A lot of times, as veterans, if anybody has seen the documentary Almost Sunrise, so the documentary Almost Sunrise is about two veterans who walked 2,700 miles. And that's where you learn about moral injury. And then at the very end, they go through the power breath. And so as we were walking through the process of the power breath, I saw it was online and it was free for veterans. And I thought, I'm a veteran. I want to take it. I do not have PTSD, but I was able to get a deep self-awareness when going through this process. So I will tell you, if you are a veteran who has PTSD, or any type of trouble sleeping, you don't even have to have a diagnosis of PTSD. Power breath is a great way. You can Google Power Breath Veterans, or you can go to Welcome Home Project, welcomehometroops.org, and it is absolutely a fantastic program. All about resources here.
We're going to add that banner there and show it for a little bit so people that want to do it. But Lisa, that gives us a great segue to come into our 2021 review of our wins and highlight. And Power Breath was definitely a win for both of us. Do you have a couple of wins or highlights you want to share with everybody for 2021?
I do. I have a lot of wins, but if I'm really being honest with some of my favorite wins, because really that's where it's all about, is I was able to write and publish my second book. And as Brenda said, I have 9 total right now, in a bunch of classes. And I pulled the second one back because I wanted to edit some, because over this year, because it's failure is a lesson learned. Mm-hmm. And over this year, I realized that failure is never a bad thing. And in my world, failure is good, because if we don't fail, then we can't succeed. It really, they go hand in hand. Right. So I was really excited about that. And one of the resources I used was the PLR.me, which I also found 2 really, really great websites that I'm absolutely in love with. One of them is PLR.me, and those are private labels where they do all the writing for you. You can take it and then make it your personal pieces. And then AppSumo. AppSumo is a really great website for very inexpensive programs. In fact, that's one of the things that Brenda and I talked about. And one of the things I also learned was in reference to, not just the apps, but I also learned about affiliate links. So one of the things that's really cool, and I put 2 links in the comments there. One is for AppSumo, and that's Brenda's link. And so what AppSumo does is, if you go ahead and sign up using that link, Brenda gets $10, and then you also get $10 after you purchase something, if you purchase something.
Yeah.
And then for the PLR.me, that one is my link, because I use PLR.me way more than Brenda. I use it for almost everything. But what that one does is that one gives me 10 free credits, and it gives you 10 free credits. You do not have to sign up for the PLR.me. You can sign up for the free account, and every month you still get 2 credits. And 2 credits can get you 2 different items. So you can just go test it out. With that link, you automatically get 10 credits plus 2. So we wanted to make sure that that was in there. But those were some of my all-time favorites, is learning about the different apps and the different resources, because I am truly all about resources. And then pivoting to really focusing on my accountability laser coaching. I think those were my solid wins for this year. What about yours, Brenda?
My solid win for this year was actually listening to you for a change. And because you would tell me to slow down take care of myself and to pace myself. And I didn't always do that. You also provided such accountability that I consider that a great win for me in reference to 2021 because I was able to gain focus and began to get clear on uh, who I wanted to coach, who was my client avatar, who were the people, and we decided women over 40 were the women that were listening to me the most. Now, I do have women in younger categories and women older, um, but women in that age 40 to 70 group were the largest number of people that were actually resonating because of my life experiences and what I offered. So I consider that a big win, um, very much so. Which also the wins go right into what? Our gratitude. And we are using the framework from the best year ever that Jen Gottlieb taught a presentation on. And if you go to Jim Gottlieb, and I'll put her information at the bottom of the thing on Instagram, she has a whole Instagram, several posts on how you can have your best year ever. And I also created a framework for that I'm going to be putting on my landing page that you can download and get it all in one place. But it talks about the 2021 year review, and my gratitude is Jen and all the connectors and the people that basically have taught me how to not reinvent the wheel, Lisa. I am grateful for not having to come up with things from scratch. That's my biggest gratitude that I have for the year. I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Well, we know I love not reinventing the wheel. It's kind of one of those great things when we don't have to. You know, I think for me, one of my biggest gratitudes is the fact that even through COVID, we have been able to stay friends. And we have been able to be there for each other. And I think, obviously, if it hadn't been for COVID, you and I would have never connected, or we would have maybe buku down the road. I'm not sure. But, you know, I am extremely grateful for that. And I'm extremely grateful for all of the people that I get to connect with. And, you know, I am not a people person per se. That's not my, that's why we have Brenda. Brenda is the one who really just is passionate about connecting with people. That is not my area. But I am truly grateful for all the people that I've had a chance to meet and had a chance to work with. For me, that was so important. And it really, in that Power of Breath course, I think really set me on a different path, which really gave me a deeper self-awareness of the importance of connecting with people, even when you don't want to. And I am just truly grateful for all the people I work for, because it's been a rough year for some of them, and they've still managed to shine their way through. And so I think for me, that would be one of the things.
I'm excited too to say that even with COVID, we were actually able to meet in person when I was able to go to New York to the Unfair Advantage Live. So I'm really excited for the connections. That's a gratitude. I'm excited for the connections that Super Connector Media provided for me, and how it keeps connecting you and I as we go throughout our journey and our business endeavors. And that's why I definitely put Jen's information down there. You can follow Jen on Instagram if you want to be inspired. She is a mindset maven. She doesn't play. It will always be something positive, something beautiful, and something worth listening to. So check out Jen Gottlieb on Instagram and follow her. You will not regret that, and that is something I'm grateful for. The next thing it had, Lisa, and this one was a little tough for me because it says ways that we limited ourselves. And this year, I felt like I limited myself a lot by not having the right mindset sometimes when it comes, even though for me, I am always living in the attitude of gratitude. I do believe everything is possible. But sometimes I forgot to believe things were possible for me as much as I believe they were possible for others.
I'm not going to argue that one. If you're looking for an argument, it's not coming from me. I'm just saying it's one of those things. It's true. And I think that one of the advantages, even when you did limit yourself, is that you recognize that you limited yourself. And you really listened and really took to heart when it was pointed out that you're focusing on everybody, but yet you're not focusing on yourself. And for me, I limited myself because I could have had more clients this year, but I had focused on other things, and the guilt of needing to do those other things. And it took me until November to realize, okay, this has got to stop. And that's when Brenda and I said, that's it. Come January 1st, heaven or high water, we're both jumping off the ledge, going full force, 100% in. It's not like we're not prepared, because we're both clearly prepared. But I think that I limited myself because I really was more concerned about the other work than I was about getting my things done and helping people. Because one of the things that Brenda and I talked about a while back was, well, if you don't get your business started, then people aren't going to get the help that you can provide them. So you're really hurting people by not doing this. And one of the reasons that Brenda and I wrote a book together is because we learned so many lessons, and there's so many things that we wished we would have known, as Brenda said earlier, that we didn't know all of the things that we wanted to know. So for us, it was really important. So we limited ourselves. We know we limited ourselves. Can't change the past.
Nope.
But the past is what brought us here today. So I am completely fine with that.
And that's why let's scroll down at the bottom there. Today is the day you let go of things that no longer serve you, like limiting beliefs. We let them go. And there was something else I read today that I wanted to share while we're in the part of things that limited us. And it said, I'm going to read it because I thought this was so cool. It said, find what you do best and have other people do the rest. And when I saw that, I thought of someone else that I definitely wanted to highlight today, because I'm always about highlighting people. And I want to highlight Mandeep Kaur. You can follow her on IG at Beyond Outsourcing. So when you're talking about today is your day to let go of the things that no longer serve you and find what you do best and hire other people to do the rest, Mandeep is having a special right now at Beyond Outsourcing to get your administrative needs met. So if you're looking for administrative support, please go to at Beyond Outsourcing and check out their special packages that's coming up for 2022 to get your virtual assistants and all your administrative needs for your business, be it IT, finances. I mean, they just do so much. But in order to get that as a small business, sometimes you got to understand you can't do it all. That's why you hire the people that have the skills to make that happen. And that Beyond Outsourcing, they have those skills. They have secure virtual assistants that actually come into an office, that use secure servers. It's an amazing process. And it's something that I realized I don't have to do it all, because there are people that you can pay to do it for you, but you can do the things you love, like having this show and excuse me, spending my time where it needs to be. Lisa, with that said, we talked about how we live. What was one of the most important lessons you learned of 2021?
I knew this question was coming up too. No, to be honest, I would say the most valuable lesson I learned is that I've got to stop purchasing. Seriously, I've got to stop purchasing all these programs and apps that I purchase. For me, I love my apps. Seriously, they are like, you go on AppSumo and they've got all kinds of really great things at all kinds of really great prices. But what I did was I went through, I had so many and I was looking for some. In fact, you and I were talking about what I was looking for the other day and I couldn't find it. So I actually ended up going through my list to look at them and realized it wasn't there, and realized how many more I had purchased throughout the year, and realized that I didn't use them all. So my most valuable lesson is it's okay to go ahead and buy the software as long as it's in my budget, because Brenda and I had gone through and developed our training budget, partially because of this reason in my world is why I did mine. But I think that that was probably one of the most valuable lessons I learned is it's okay to buy the software as long as there's a reason for it, and document it on an Excel spreadsheet or a database, whatever it is you want to use, Word document, something so that you don't forget about it.
I'm gonna talk about the training stuff when we get to our next session for 2022. So I'm gonna use my one most important lesson learned was to trust myself. Lisa, this past year there were lots of times where I deferred to the experts or the powers that be, when in reality I really did have enough training, enough education, and enough God-given common sense to do the right thing. So in 2021, I've learned to trust myself and let go of those things that no longer serve me so that I can have high productivity, that I can succeed in the areas that I want to succeed in. And I had to acknowledge that my way won't always be the standard way. And that was okay.
And I love that, because I think that that's probably the most important thing, because a lot of things that Brenda and I talked about this past year was, oh my gosh, all of the training that she's had over the last 30, 40 years. It is amazing. Some of it was like pulling teeth to find out about it. But the leadership and the management and the organizational training is phenomenal. I mean, people pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for the type of training that the military gave us, or that she learned when she retired from the military. So I could see how that was your most valuable lesson, because that was your skill set and training are huge.
And Lisa, I think it comes to, like, for both of us. So it's not that my skill set and training, my God, I felt like it was minuscule compared to yours, but that's part of our military background. We don't often blow our own horn, or is it toot your own horn? Because we do those things because that's just what we do. There was no thought for me when people said, "Well, can you do?" Of course, I can do that because I was trained that in the military. And people sometimes look at me and go, "Well, they don't think I had that experience." I am blessed to say that on December 27th, 2021, I turned 59 years old. So there's some water under the bridge, you know. And in those years, those 59 years, I have attended any training and every training I could get my hands on because, hi, I'm Brenda. I'm addicted to training. And I know that. I feel like sometimes there should be an intervention. And I know, Lisa, you have had to intervene. When you said, Brenda, you just signed up for a course, you don't have enough hours to take all the courses you're taking. But I am that person that literally will stay up past midnight to take another extra class because just in case I might need to know that. So, and that'll lead me into 2022. One of the things we talked about, what will be our wins in 2022, Lisa? My win for 2022 is going to be self care.
You know what? I think that that is going to be the biggest win for both of us, because self-care is clearly, especially on, on all of ours. I think most people during COVID just dropped the self-care because they're home, didn't want to go to the doctor. I mean, I've been holding off going to the dentist for at least 6 months that I know I need to go. And it's like, okay, I'm doing it in 2022.
Mm-hmm. And the next thing on 2022 that we have on our list is gratitude. My gratitude for 2022, Lisa, is the fact that I have written out my 2022 blueprint. I am grateful that I have mapped out a plan that's going to actually lead me on the path to success throughout this entire year. And I'm grateful already that in 2022, you're my accountability.
Well, I am grateful that you're staying my accountability buddy and didn't kick me to the curb. Because, sometimes I can be a little bit too action oriented for some people.
A little? Well, we won't go there. But you know what, though, Lisa? That's how we balance each other. Because, there's times you drug me kicking and screaming because I should have got something done. And I would rather watch guinea pig videos. And so, because guinea pigs are cute. And who wouldn't want to watch a guinea pig video?
I plead the Fifth Amendment on that one.
And okay, the next thing on our 2022 list, Lisa, is things we want to experience. I Until different things started happening, I wanted to experience more global travel. I don't know if that's going to be happening yet, but that's on my bucket list for 2022 to experience more global travel. As in addition to actually completing the pitches that will put me on national news, because this past year I chose to just simply focus on print articles and podcasts. But in 2022, see the face, know the face. I'm gonna be out there, y'all. How about you, Lisa? What do you want to experience in 2022?
And that's actually going to happen too. Jen, I'm going to
Yeah.
use this video as future reference. Just to keep reminding you is what we're going to do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So for me, I think what I plan on experiencing in 2022 is I plan on having my first summit and my first full-time real program where it's all accountability, but there's like a 6-hour open path where people can just come in and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really important because nobody is doing that. And so for me, it's a matter of getting that in and making those things happen. But those are going to be really my two biggest things this year.
That sounds good. Okay, they asked, what did you feel in 2022? Well, for me, you know what it's going to be: unapologetically unstoppable. I'm going to spend the year making sure that I have no regrets and that I am in a forward motion that takes me to the top. Because where's my shades at? I'm putting on my hater blockers, Lisa. Because my future's so bright, I'm going to have to wear shades to to repel my haters. And the bling's going to attract my supporters. So see, they do purpose. Although Alex tells me I need some better hater blockers, because Alex told me that they're nice, but my hater blockers should be so good that they outshine that they just can't even see me. So Alex is going to do me some new hater blockers.
I am looking forward to seeing those, let me tell you.
Yeah, if Alex do them, they're going to be over the top. So y'all stay tuned for Hater Blockers 2.0 because they are definitely coming. Is there anything else you want to feel for 2022, Lisa, or was that you're going to be unapologetically unstoppable as well?
I'm right there with you. I am going to be unapologetically unstoppable. I am 56. I'm almost 59.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it is all about being unapologetically unstoppable. It's where I want to go. It's how I plan on living life. I'm there.
Okay, here's the final one for 2022 on the best year ever question countdown. It says, what are you going to let go of for 2022?
So mine is simple. I'm just going to let go of the guilt that I feel about not doing the other things and realizing that, everybody feels guilty about something and it always stops them. And I am not going to let guilt stop me from, leaving work at exactly 4:00. I get paid till 4:00, leave work at exactly 4:00. Because I love what I do. I love everything that I do. And I think that that's one of the things is, it's more about, I know that I want to work with businesses 24/7. So for me, that's the only way to make that happen is to just let go of the guilt. And it's going to be gone effective tomorrow.
There you go. And Lisa, for me, I said, I'm letting go of limits. I'm letting go of anything that limits my ability to seek out new opportunities, that stops me from living in the now, and now stands for no opportunity wasted. Because I think in 2021, I spent a lot of time holding back, saying, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't charge that, or whatever. 2022, there's no limit.
There you go.
And I'm definitely letting go of anything, anyone that no longer serves me, because life's too short to live in the negative. And I'm going to go into 2022 smiling with my attitude of gratitude, practicing my help one person every day, and just enjoying life because we've lost a lot of people this past year, Lisa, and we're still losing. Just today, I got another note that someone else has crossed over, and we're all pretending like we have tomorrow, like it's guaranteed, and it's not. So all we have is right now today. So why not make it the best day ever?
And actually, you're not even promised the all day. You're just promised right now in this moment. Yep.
Well, I'll
No.
try to be here in the next few moments just in case.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
want to be too.
before we go though, I did want to just kind of hit on what are some of the things that you have coming up for 2022 that you'd like to share with the audience before we close out, Lisa?
So, like I said, I'm working on my big summit. And the summit is really based on action. One of the biggest things that people really struggle with is action. They get into those modes, not only just the shiny objects, but they get into that mode where they're stuck. So I want to start focusing on summits, but we're going to have some challenges along the way. We're going to set up some Facebook challenges because I think that 3-day challenges will be good. And those are things you and I are going to do. You may not know about all of them because I haven't given this.
But I'll be there.
Yep. And it's on my plan. So, but when I finalize the plan, that's one of the important things. And then I'm also putting in a proposal because I do want to focus on having an all-day session every week to help businesses because, sometimes they need to pivot and they don't know. The ultimate thing is we don't know what we don't know until somebody tells us. And because not only have I been working with businesses for 7 years now, but I have also have all this military experience, civilian experience, and I'm an avid believer in resources. Never reinventing the wheel. Sometimes I'll create things because it's not out there, but ultimately not reinventing the wheel. And I think that that's one of the most important things to share with everybody is you never have to do anything alone when it comes to business.
No, you really don't. We want everyone to have a happy new year. And just briefly, Lisa, you didn't mention the fact that you have written 9 ebooks that are going to be coming out over the next few weeks. And I hope you'll come back and talk to us about them when that's all finalized. In addition to the laser coaching programs that's going to be announced more. There's just so many things that Lisa has in the pipes. As she mentioned earlier, there's a book that we wrote together. We're not giving the title out yet because that may change. But what we did was we compiled all those things that we learned over the past 18 or so months that we wish we knew before we started this. And we're hoping that it's going to break. No, we're not hoping. Excuse me. We're learning to language better in 2022 as well. We are sure it's going to help someone else avoid the pitfalls that we came across as we established our business, learned about branding, learned about social media, and all the things that go with it. We're redoing the way Talk to Me shows up. I'm relaunching my book, Soul Searching, the second edition, and I'm excited about the additions that's being added to it. So we have a lot of things happening in 2022. We hope you'll watch this space, that you will follow Lisa and I on Instagram. You can find Lisa as Lisa DeShore. Make sure I get to say 2020 on Instagram. You can find me as Brenda the Solutionist. And we're both just excited for the upcoming year, all the new exciting things that we're going to learn, that we're going to be able to experience, that we're going to be able to teach. If you're looking for accountability coaching, please check out Lisa. She is one of the best, and you will not be disappointed. If you're looking for coaching on how to tap in to get unstuck, then I'm your person. I'm a mental fitness coach, and that's what I do. Or if you want to be interviewed on my show, talk to me, DM me as well, and we'll find out if you're a good fit for the show. Most importantly, we want you to have the best year ever. Lisa, what are your final thoughts before we close this out?
I just want everybody to realize, let go of the past. And I'm not saying it just because it's the end of the year. The past we cannot change. And the present is now. And we can consider this a gift. And if you live with kindness, love, hope, and gratitude, then your future is set. Everything else can change just by pivoting.
There we go. With that, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. Choose wisely. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Brenda.